everything we do is connected. As a result, everything that's connected uploads logs, gathers data, and fortunately, we need to capture all that data. As a result of capturing all that data, we need a place to store all that data. Thus enters object storage. So the major vendors in the object storage space might include CleverSafe, NetApp Storage Grid. There's Swift, which is a native OpenStack object storage cluster. Then a company came along and essentially decoupled Swift from OpenStack, and that's called SwiftStack. There's Scality out there as well. All these object storage vendors essentially provide a mass cluster. You can have a single cluster on-prem, or you can have a cluster that's distributed globally. All of them have S3 capabilities. All of them have NFS and SIFS capabilities, meaning I can use a gateway to store data into that cluster rather than using the native HTTP REST that object storage is typically built on. InterVision's strategy in partnering with major object storage vendors is essentially to help a customer accommodate their business initiatives for an object storage solution. We've got OpenStack running in our environment, and coupled with that, we've got things like Ceph or Swift running in that environment. We've got NetApp as a strong partner in being able to run Storage Grid inside our demo lab located behind me. The purpose of us housing these in our EBC demo center is so that we can practice utilization, logistically see how the clusters are functioning, logistically see how they perform, and showcase the solutions for customers. Object storage will become more and more prevalent as we move along. We're just in its infancy stages. So if you think about it, there's sort of 3 or 4 buckets of workload type storage. There's your traditional SAN, which might mean high performance applications. There's your traditional file bucket, which might mean NFS or SIS, and using tool-based random workload in that environment. Whereas object storage is the archive play. It is the large archive play for that data that we collect time and time again. Tape no longer is a viable medium for restoration of data, just simply because when we want to restore that data, we need it efficiently and we need it fast. So therefore, if we keep that data on disk and online, we're able to go retrieve that data and pull it back into our mechanisms. So archive is one area where certainly object storage is very prominent. Another use case for object storage is having developers having the capability to store files that might not get accessed very frequently, but still need to retrieve that file to present within their application, or possibly run analytics on them. So for instance, there are some object storage vendors that support HDFS. HDFS is Hadoop's native language for a file system. Therefore, I could potentially take that same object store and run analytics on that data that's sitting in that archive. Object storage addresses a need. It addresses a need for a certain type of workload. Traditional SAN probably won't go away. That more addresses your heavy random I/O patterns for essentially a processing engine or a database that might need rapid I/O. NFS or standard SIS may not go away, although the line's a little more blurred when it comes to file protocols versus object storage. But traditionally, if you've got an NFS farm or a SIS farm and you're using an application to store files across NFS or SIS in some type of random pattern, or applications that require a little latency, you'll still use maybe NFS or SIS for that. Object storage tends to be a little more latent in terms of workload, and it's really meant for that long storage of large bulk data sets.